the great majority, overwhelming number of people who are enmeshed in the system and that we're housing at $50,000 a year in the largest prison factory in the world are.
Well, don't worry. We're going to let 10,000 of them out soon because we don't have any money.
You could let out 30,000. It wouldn't matter. Most of the
I
people
don't want all the
house
drug. I don't want all the drug people in there. For instance, there's tons of people I don't want in there.
You should come down one day. Come down to the courthouse with me. Come down to the criminal courts building. Check out. Just sit in a courtroom from 9 o'clock till 10:30 when they do the calendar, and watch how many of those cases are idiotic cocaine or meth cases. I mean, that's what 80% of the Superior Court is. Well, there was a judge friend of mine who once called it the parking ticket of Superior Court. And that's all they do. They just 16 months, 32 months, 48 months. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, should we legalize cocaine?
Absolutely.
And crack cocaine as well?
Yeah, if you
Listen,
legalize
I'm with you.
I'm telling you, it makes absolutely what we're doing makes no sense whatsoever because you spur the other crime. Guys, because it's so hard to get, they don't have the money, so what do? They go out and they commit burglaries and robberies. They get high as a kite while they're doing the robbery. They end up killing 71-year-old women. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. And all of the crime that we've got now, the Mexican cartel, which is now infiltrating into the southern U.S. and everything else, that's all, you take the profit out of it, all that evaporates.
Well, did we not learn our lesson with booze?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
Look, and you would have liked it if we had legalized booze earlier because the Kennedys wouldn't have had a fortune.
Oh, screw them.
Right.
And my Mangria.
Right.
My grandfather, my great-grandfather, Dutch Carolla, would have been selling Mangria on every corner. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't – by the way, the whole thing about we declared a war on this, drugs 35 years ago, Nancy Reagan or whoever – okay, when it's at some point, like when do we go, hey, whatever we're doing.
The war didn't last, the war is not exactly working. Part of talk about hypocrisy. We declare the war on drugs. We go down, we destroy Colombia, we destroy all these other places,
poppy
Mexico.
Seeds and all that stuff.
Yeah, do all this nonsense where, the reason that Afghanistan was such a mess and terrorism was spawned there was because of the opium trade and everything else. And we are the largest consumers. Right. I mean, we're the ones who are creating the demand for what it is we're declaring a war on. I mean, it's idiotic. I mean, if you did this as an individual, they would institutionalize you because you'd be schizophrenic. But because it's in government, it's okay.
Then what? Well, I do believe part of the way the government works is we start a huge institution like, DEA.
Right.
And then it becomes a mammoth machine, and it's a furnace. And you have to keep shoveling coal into it. And it's like the IRS. And then somebody says...
How about TSA?
And TSA. All the initials. DEA, TSA, IRS.
NSA.
BFD, I say. So
WTF.
WNBA.
Then they become their own huge furnace. And everyone just has to shovel. They have to shovel coal into it as fast as you can to keep the furnace burning. Right. And then somebody comes up and goes... What do we need this furnace for? And someone goes, shut up, here's a shovel. And you go, but I don't get it. Hey, he's not shoveling. We got to all shovel. And you go, I don't get it. And it's like, you realize how many employees this furnace has? This furnace has 5,000 employees, and this other one has 28,000 employees. You want to shut this furnace down and put all those people out of work? Well, I do if it's powering a train that's going in a fucking circle around Yuma. I do. Well, then you want all these people out of work? We can find them jobs doing other things and we can get them off the train that goes in a circle.
You could take some of those 28,000 employees and have them man a drug rehab center or something else.
Right. So what would
Dr. Drew could be the new Surgeon General. We have Drew run rehab, the Department of Rehab.
See every
Dr.
Drew.
Drew in the hizzy.
Then what would we do with all the people who wanted cocaine and wanted methamphetamine? So how would we treat them? How would we take care of them?
England dispenses hard drugs, and there is demonstrable evidence over courses of generations that people can be addicted to these drugs and at the same time be productive. Usually the reason why they aren't productive is because they spend so much time trying to get the illegal drugs.
Because of the price.
Because of the price, and also because the drugs are usually cut and stepped on and everything else, and it ends up being you end up inhaling light bulb filament or shooting up some kind of something that's not or is too strong or not strong enough.
Well, that's I was just watching a whole thing on Janis Joplin. She got 50% heroin when it's normally like 5% or something. So somebody didn't do a good enough job.
Right, they should have stepped on it.
Although it is one of these things where you're kind of complimenting your dealer as you're dying.
Well, I think
shit's too good.
I'd always heard that I don't know if this is an urban myth, but that periodically that would happen. Like they would not cut it as much so that people would die, so that then it's like, oh my God, you get the good stuff from them.
Well, you're dealing with junkies and dealers and drug addicts.
They're great at math.
Yeah, so it's not an exact science with a lot of these guys.
Yeah, and you're not doing Pew Research polls on your demographic.
But anyway, I'm with you. The amount of money on the drug war and the money getting into the hands. I mean, whenever they, pull one of those submarines that had $400 million and 20 stuffed into it, they go, hey, they show it off like they caught a fucking marlin. And all I can think of is how many other submarines did we miss?
Right. Exactly. Well, now they've got, have you seen these tunnels? The tunnels between Mexico and California literally are large enough that they're driving cars. They've got lights in them. They're miles long, and they just constantly moving. And we find one of those, there's probably 200 that we haven't found.